Hey there, Cheese here, and welcome back to the Mega Man 02 Perfect Runs. Last time we found the resistance base again and learned of Operation Right to Strike, so let's see what we can do to help out. Well, of all these, rescuing people is probably the most important, but to heck with that. These soldiers need to learn to live without Zero rescuing their behinds every other minute. We're ignoring them, it'll build character. Instead, we're gonna bust up the computer zone, and polar cameras along with it. Neo Arcadia's defense system overheats real easy, so they built it in Antarctica along with a bunch of cooling systems to help it cool off further. If we wreck the cooling systems, the whole thing should overheat in no time. Please keep your arms and legs inside the teleportation area at all times. This here is probably my favorite song from 02. I just love non-standard instruments like this. Anywho, let's switch to the Buster and Saber because that's what I want to begin the stage with. The stage starts off with a couple sets of ice flows. First one, so long as you keep your speed up, it's easy enough to cross without falling into the drink, but the other one, not so much, so I like to go underneath the whole thing. Keeps me from falling into any spikes, you know? Plenty of Jongyos to deal with down here, though. They're different from Shark Seals in the first game, because whenever there's an ice flow in the area, they'll swim underneath it in one direction, and then jump way overhead in the other. Just keep in mind that each Jongyo, or each ice flow, has two Jongyos circling it in opposite directions, and you should be able to keep any of them from landing on your head. These panel cannons here are kind of durable for what they are, so I find the Saber definitely works best against them. Most of the time, anyway. And here we have our first bit of ice physics, and some frigid air that will freeze Zero in place. It won't damage him, but he can still take damage from, say, an ice lifter running into him. Although they do more pushing than lifting. They also are shielded in the front, and they love to just stop randomly, with unpredictably. Makes them kind of tough to get past. Then there are Rollin' 22s. These turrets slide along frozen pipes and fire at Zero, and once that doesn't work, they'll dip beneath the pipe, out of your range, and then try and surface into Zero. Real annoying. Careful getting down here. That one ice lifter can really catch you off guard. And that was the first of the computers that we just destroyed down there. Oh, hello. You can't surface beneath me. You can only get into my Saber range. Second computer we need to destroy is down with a couple more Jongyos. Oop, don't get frozen on the way out, you might fall into a fish. And that's what being frozen does. Like I said, doesn't hurt, just freezes you. Coming up here we have the Golem Type I. No points for guessing what that stands for. I like to switch to the Chain Rod because it does more damage than the Buster Pellets, and has plenty more range than the Saber. Be sure to duck or dash underneath once it crosses, though. It has a giant snowball that's pretty easy to avoid, and some icicles that you can destroy, so it's easy enough defending yourself with the Saber. It'll attack once or twice before crossing sides. Pretty much a pushover. Hello, Half-Mardo. For the rest of the stage, actually, I'd like to have the Chain Rod with the Buster. And this is where it's important to really know how dash jumping works on ice, because just dashing isn't enough. See? The difference is you gotta have dashing speed. If you haven't built that up, you're just doing a weak little normal jump. And that becomes very apparent very quickly here. There's a computer that we need to destroy over this direction. Chain Rod's the best way to get to that. Wait for that to fire, and then bust the computer up so you have room to dodge its next volley. Panel cannons are often in very, very unhelpful areas. Just carefully dash off the side here. Whoop. Carefully don't walk into the Pantheon there, and here's the first place you might notice your dash jumping isn't working the way you want it to. Take out the Pantheon waiting over there, and anytime you're not feeling confident in building up dashing speed in the area you're given, the Chain Rod is a completely viable option of another way of getting across. So, you got good options. Chain Rod helps you get up here to destroy the final computer. Should have full mission points now. And a few more Pantheons in the way before building up speed and go! And stop! Yeah, don't have your speed constantly build up, or else you might just crash into something. Although, I believe that's not much of a concern anymore. There's simply one more gap here. Let me really get going. There we go. And we're onto the boss in a bit. Polar Kamrous. She's a big burly gal who has been sitting in here the whole time, so really hasn't been doing that great a job at defending the computer zone. But that's her job. You certainly do sound easy to confuse, so yeah. She's big, she's icy, you can guess how hard she is. She likes to build spiky ice pillars and send them your way. You can destroy the spiky part to jump on them. This here is her EX attack. The wall crash. She creates a wall, and then it crashes. You're gonna need to destroy those spikes sooner or later, because there's no jumping over her without the wall. The way she slashes across the room, I find it kind of tough to get within the Z-Saber's range safely. She really likes using that EX attack. She'll only attack 3 times on either side of the room before clawing her way over, and I haven't ever seen her attack twice the same way in a row. Like, use her EX attack twice in a row, or those pillars twice in a row. She has a third attack that she can use where she creates a ball of ice and just flings it, but she seems to not like to use it when I'm fighting her. I don't know why. Let's be a little careful here. This boss is a pushover, but that's no reason to let the guard down. In fact, it's even more reason to just not be embarrassed. Ooh. Wow, that actually is a real wall that you can attach to with the chain rod and swing from. I am not sure I ever knew that. Either way, the wall crash should be obvious how you dodge it by now. You just go above the first bit and then land to let the second bit fly over your head. And with this, she's down. Not a hard fight. We're humanoid, you dits. Yeah, that's Polar Kamrous for you. And our mission result, I think, times the only thing I lost anything on. Nice. And there we go, 0 damage. Ooh, I've gone from a flawless gunman to a flawless warrior. We got the ice chip. And the EX skill of Polar Kamrous. That's something new. I'll be detailing that later on. So yeah, I mentioned the base is better. We actually can teleport to and from anywhere in the world now instead of just between established trans servers. Much, much better. Much better tech. Thank you for the praise, Opizo. What a nice guy. Anyway, let's go and save that. Hey, it's a new face. I like this guy. His name is Doit. I mostly like this guy because that name is incredible. Doit. It's so fun to say. Doit. He makes a joke. Zero doesn't take it too well. Zero really doesn't take it too well. Let's run away. And save our progress. That's one small complaint I have with 02, that you have to come all the way over to CL from mission to command anytime you just want to save. But it's pretty minor. Anywho, that's the whole stage, that's the whole run. I don't think there are any extras for this, so let's just head straight to the outtakes, shall we? Enjoy!
Keep your hands on the rock. We'll finish you if you stop. Company.
What am I saying? Of course there are extras. So I've gone through the stage again, but this time I've left one of the computers intact. And by not destroying all of them, You can see there that the temperature is not quite above freezing yet in the background, so the floor is still slippery and icy. There's also the other attack Polar Kamrous has, and if she would show it, that would be great. If not, I'm gonna cut to her showing it. Here's something I found on accident. You can stand there to be safe for whatever reason. No, she's just not doing it. I guess I'll come back when she literally cannot use her EX attack. There we go. It's really nothing special, but the tiny fragments that the ball explodes into when it hits the ground, they do damage too, so be mindful of that. Oh, I guess you can destroy the pillars too. Didn't know that. Anyway, we're back here in the computer zone to demonstrate the EX skill we picked up. When you fight a boss at A rank or S rank, they'll use their EX skill, and if you defeat them, you'll get their EX skill to use. In this case, we're not building a wall and destroying it, but we are using an icy shot with plenty of range, so it's similar in nature anyway. So, charge up fully, and it looks no different. That's because we actually have to equip the ice chip for this to work. EX skills tend to have requirements like that. Or at least elemental ones. So when we release a fully charged shot like that, it goes forward, and once it hits something, it splits into 3. I'm focusing a little too much on demonstrating this. But yeah, it doesn't stop once it hits something like it normally would, and it does more damage to whatever's behind it. Pretty nice. I'm gonna keep going for a little though, because there's something else I need to show. You might have actually already noticed. Maybe I shouldn't be using an ice element attack against an ice whoops, okay, that was stupid. Alright, after not having used its own element against it, which it resists very heavily, moving on. Anyway, the other change I mentioned, you might have noticed it already, but even though I didn't destroy any computers in the computer zone this time around, all the ice is gone. Even the pipes in the first section, even though they keep spewing out cold air, you can walk on them without sliding and even wall jump on them. Couldn't do that before. The reason I'm showing it in this particular area is to show one more significant change. The spikes on the walls and floors were also icicles, so this place is much safer to go through. There's really no danger left in this second half of the stage. You can get that extra life super duper easy. It's great. Anyway, that's just about it. On to the outtakes. They're like shark seals, except they behave differently and they're yellow. Whenever you jump into them, you feel even dumber. There's a bunch of jump goes to deal with down here, and that was double tap dash. I sure still hate it. They are, so I definitely prefer to use the saber on most of them. We've got slippery pipes that emit frozen air that will freeze zero in place. That was not enough speed. Ice physics at last. Along with bursts of frigid air that will freeze zero in place. Really? That wasn't enough? Man. I'm not... Does it... Okay, it does have ice physics. Why... I could have sworn it didn't always have ice physics. I guess I could have sworn I was wrong. The path had split, but instead of a lower path, there was actually 2 dead ends with half of my mission score. Whoops. Whoop! That was awful courteous of you, at least. I believe, yeah. Here, it's time to build up speed. Off we go, and right into the kisser. That happens sometimes. She's enormous. This here's her EX attack, and this is not. Let's destroy those spikes before they become a problem. And oh my goodness, I failed against this boss! That's unacceptable. No! No! This one has the prerequisite of having the ice chip equipped. I've done that already. A fully charged Buster Shot. Ha ha ha! I haven't used the Buster enough to show. Okay. The Mega Man Zero series may have a reputation for being tough with off-the-walls, bonkers boss fights, but even here we see them sticking to certain traditions for the franchise. Namely, the bigger a boss is, the harder it is for it to actually hit you. And if it's a nice boss on top of that, boy, I feel sorry for it. That said, even an easy boss can have a tough stage. So let's see how the Computer Zone fared, eh? I'm giving Polar Kamrous a 3 out of 10. I was considering a 4, but honestly the boss fight makes it lose that point. This is one of those stages that starts off tough, but just gets easier as it goes along. The Jongyos are absolutely everywhere in the initial section, and it makes it real easy to screw up there. Yes, there is a safer path above the water to take, but the second portion of Ice Flows is much more spaced out than the first, and if you fall off there, you're almost guaranteed to either land on a jump gyo or on some spikes and flat out die. It's about as tough to go above the water as under. Then when you move inside, the ice lifters are just a massive pain in the behind. As soon as you hit the mid-boss though, there's nothing left, just a matter of playing cautious and knowing how the ice physics work. As for the boss, well, do I even really need to talk about this? She has half the attacks of a normal boss in this series, she telegraphs them all very, very clearly, and then she frequently takes about 20 seconds doing nothing but letting you damage her as she traipses across the room. This is not a Mega Man Zero series boss. This is a large ice boss about the same complexity as one from the classic series. That's just not enough to threaten Zero, at all. Anyway, that's all for now. Hopefully I can keep up the pace and get another video up in a week or so. I hope you've enjoyed this video, I'd love to see you back for the next one, and until then, this has been Cheese. Take care!